Welcome back. ChannelsTV.com has more information for you. And on YouTube.com/channelsweb, you can watch our videos. You can also watch us on your mobile device via your browser or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you access to news on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app have an eyewitness feature with which you can share pictures, videos, or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. And our next story affects all the Nigerian states. It's coming from the perspective of the federal government. Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has vowed to harness the creativity of young Nigerians towards addressing the country's economic problems. He offered this assurance at an expanded National Executive Council meeting with Nigeria's development partners. He also restated the federal government's determination to use the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan in addressing the challenges of food security, health, education, and infrastructure.
One of the primary planks of our Economic Recovery and Growth Plan is, quote, investing in people. And I think you pointed that out also in the comments that you made. And it is for this reason that we're expanding the reach and quality of our healthcare through the National Healthcare Insurance Scheme and working to guarantee basic education for all persons, whilst also upgrading and modernizing the quality of secondary and post-secondary education. This means that STEM education is critical, science, technology, engineering, and maths, and that technology must lie at the heart of every one of our educational offerings. And I'll be talking about this very briefly as we go along. In 2016, we launched a social investment program comprising a job scheme for unemployed graduates, a feeding program for public primary schools, and a microcredit scheme for small businesses, a cash transfer scheme for our poorest and most vulnerable households. We started with $1 million. This social investment program, which is a key component of our Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, is possibly the most ambitious in Nigeria's history. It aims to ensure ultimately that no one is left behind and that Nigeria's wealth is more equitably distributed to its vulnerable populations, the young and old, male and female, regardless of where in the country they live or what language they speak.
Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Nigeria's Vice President. In the southwestern region, the Ogun State government is now one of the highest revenue-earning states in Nigeria in the area of taxes, coming in second after Lagos State. That was done with the attraction of about 80 high net worth individuals paying 10 million naira and above into the state's tax purse. Now, the state government says the attraction to pay tax is attributable to massive infrastructural development across the state. The chairman of the state's Internal Revenue Service says that's good news as the state government vows to go through on individuals and companies still defaulting on their payments after the March 31st deadline expires.
Don't disclose and file for VAT by the deadline, which is March 31st. You risk prosecution, you risk penalty, and you risk interest rate. But if you file for VAT, you are absolved from penalty, that is penalty on what you have outstanding. You don't pay interest, and of course you are free from prosecution. You know, tax evasion is a felony, whereas tax avoidance is not a felony. So people that fail to comply is tax evasion, and that's a felony.
In the northwestern part of the country now, Kaduna State accounts for at least 5% of Nigeria's housing deficit, which is close to 17 million naira. And this fact was brought to the fore by the state government at the foundation laying ceremony of a mass housing scheme for low-income earners. The project is sited at Chicken local government area of Kaduna State. Governor Nasir El-Rufai reassured his people that a proper housing system is being set up to take care of deficits.
The real estate sector in Nigeria has become a goldmine of sorts for most investors, with the price tag for land and houses on the rise. While many see the heavy investment in the sector as beneficial to the Nigerian economy, the downside remains that millions of people who can afford the luxury of owning land and building houses are left to live in poor housing conditions.
Nigeria as a country suffers a huge housing deficit of about 17 million. With Kaduna being about 5% of the country, we need to build just under 1 million homes.
In northwest Nigeria, the Kaduna state government, in partnership with private investors and developers, is attempting to reduce the 5% deficit the state is contributing to the national housing shortage, which stands at 17 million. This is the foundation laying ceremony for low and medium houses in Chukun local government area. The aim of the project is to provide quality homes for the average man.
5,000 hectares have been allocated to the federal government to build low and medium income housing. This is at the federal level, and all the state governments, all the APC state governments are also doing all kinds of low and medium income housing projects.
This is not the first time the state or the federal government is deploying massive resources to tackle the housing problem in the country. The bane of the matter always boils down to affordability.
Civil servants account for 1% of the population. The other 99% also need houses. These houses are for everyone, and we try to make the prices affordable by ensuring that the access to land is cost zero, and we provide the primary infrastructure at our own cost just to make the houses affordable for everyone, civil servants inclusive.
So you have two customers. You either come individually or come through your cooperatives. That is collecting your customers. If you come through your cooperatives now, we negotiate with the cooperative members and decide and design the payment plans in which you are going to adopt. 6 months or 12 months period. It depends on how we agreed upon.
This project, according to the state government, is just one of many expected to take care of the affordability issue. There's an assurance that there will be homeowners in 2019 when the housing units are completed.
Now, women in all the Nigerian states are being challenged. In our next story, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has again emphasized the need for them to play more prominent roles in politics, especially as the 2019 general elections approach. Chief Obasanjo is a keynote speaker at the annual Women in Business conference, currently holding in Lagos, with the global theme of women pressing for progress and a focus on women in politics and nation building. The former president believes the progress of any nation is equal to the quality of its women. He also warns that getting power won't be easy for women, but they have to roll up their sleeves and fight for a place in the political space. Meanwhile, there's an urgent need for women inclusion and collaboration in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and, well, that's the view of the U.S. Consul General, Mr. John Bray. He was speaking during a brainstorming and networking session for American and Nigerian women in technology. Experts at the session also called for bridging the gap between men and women in the information and communications technology sector. Our technology correspondent, Victor Matthias, reports.
Information and communications technology has no doubt become a major economic driver in the 21st century through the establishment of hubs and tech villages where many startups and global technology companies have been founded. To ensure Nigeria's tech ecosystem reaches the pedestal of global hubs and centers, a 16-member delegation of senior women technology executives and professionals from Silicon Valley, California, are in Nigeria to brainstorm with female players on how to achieve this goal.
It's critical that women's voices at all levels find representation in collaborative solutions that will have an impact on society.
So networking, sometimes it can be a scary, intimidating term, but it doesn't have to be. It can be fun. Women are naturally really good at this. This is what we are, the relationship builders. We are the communicators. So we are already doing this. We just need to take it to the next level. And that's what we're here today to do.
But before networking, some of the visiting executives share their experiences to serve as a guide for Nigerian women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
I particularly, in my role as a diversity and inclusion person, that means bringing more people into our industry to work in our industry because they bring more perspectives. I would never have known how to bring that specifically African perspective to all of these problems. I needed on our team.
As a mentor, I got to help do a lot of deep diving into environmental impact reports to find some good solutions that other folks have used. And they were able to put together a project that would help people preserve the water they have in their black tanks that you have over your house, right?
But what is the takeaway from this session?
You need to collaborate with other women, form teams, and identify people with common interest in the process of giving back. You can only give back so much as an individual, but as a group, as a body like Tech Women, you can actually make your voice heard much louder than an individual.
These women, encouraged by the speakers and the boundless opportunities in the tech ecosystem, now network to build what is expected to be a booming and highly respected tech hub by their peers around the world.
You're watching News Across Nigeria. Coming up, the recurring issue of autonomy for local governments across the states. Stay with us.